Thijs also joins us on stage now. All right, so let's begin. Welcome to the 18th Town Hall session. My name is Jonas, and I'm today's host. It's been 3 months since we had our last Town Hall session, but now we're back, and we plan on doing these sessions once per month. For those of you unfamiliar with the concept of these town hall sessions, they are meant as a way to bring together the community to discuss recent developments in the Tagion project. And it's also your chance to ask any questions to the Tagion team. For that, we encourage you to chat, or you are also more than welcome to join us here on the stage. All right. So with that being said, I'll share today's agenda. Just a second here. Where is it? Here we go.
Yeah, that's because I can't switch camera. So I have 2 cameras, but it only sees one. But you can see my thesis box. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. But yeah, so on the agenda for today, we'll start sending our recent business trip to Brazil. Thijs will do that. Then Thijs and Carsten together will talk about the tech roadmap and also briefly mention GitHub repositories. And then finally, I'll present you to our latest article on DLT scalability. So that's the agenda for today. Yeah, we'll start with you, Thijs, I think. So what I'll do is just scroll down. So yeah, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jonas. I don't need this one right now.
You have a very bad sound, Thijs. Something's wrong.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's better.
Yeah.
Okay, I have just turned on my set. I'll just try to. Okay, better?
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, we have had 4 trips actually right now to Brazil. So why is this? We started actually with the first trip around a year ago, invited because some saw our partnership with Connect, and a bank was looking into making their own carbon credit platform. We invited there to present this to a new bank and some funds for 3 days, meeting with investors, boards, and so forth. And that was actually fine. But then also what happens here on the green, you can see products also that happen in Brazil. Regulation have been lacking and so forth. Also in Europe that had happened. So not much happened actually with that product in itself, but we got some good relations. And then people asked us if we can come back to make a more broad trip and expose ourselves to different industries, agriculture, banking, supply chain, which we then did. A couple of months later, we took like a 2-week trip there and had like, 40 meetings to do presentations and also market review of different sectors to see where do we actually have feasibility. Around that time, we also saw that in Brazil, they were experimenting a lot with Hyperledger, a version of Hyperledger called Hyperledger Besu. They also played a lot with Ethereum. They want to create more efficient and better solutions, both in the banks, but also for public payments, for example, and funds. And there was actually quite a lot of market traction going on there, but still the market was still it was just emerging, and there was a lot of positive. Then we came home there and got some more relations, and people want to follow up and continue the conversation. So we went there again in February for a month, starting engaging even more. And we tried from Tagion's point of view, and also from the cards point of view, we have had this idea. We actually tried with 3 different, you could say, service integrators, those companies you can partner with, which you think you train them, they can use your technology and all this, like a Microsoft partner, Oracle partner, whatever. Then they can deliver solutions to the clients. And after we tried 3 different ones, 2 in Europe and 1 in Brazil, we also realized that's a hard way to go, because it's new technology, it's a new way of thinking from an organization and solutions point of view. So it's very difficult for us to actually get enough impact, and also we need to have access to the client to actually deliver this impact and in a meaningful manner, so the clients understand, because the level of knowledge with the service integrators and partners, and also in the market in general with the clients and just in general, is very low on DLT and those new technology stacks. So thereon, we also starting to approach clients more directly, and have an engaging more like in a reseller setup, which can use the tech and technology, but also can partner up with the card for solutions. And that seems to be now a more working solution for us. It's more efficient. We get good traction, good projects. It of course require much more from the card's point of view to actually be engaging with the clients in the locations, hiring people, but in the knowledge transfer and communication with the clients becomes extremely much more efficient and easy. And we also get quick learnings, and that means we can also easily get onboarded projects onto the Tagion platform. And that's currently where we are. I spent my whole summer there for 1.5 months, a little bit longer actually. Carsten was also there for 1.5 months. We have some business development partner there as well, who's responsible for this here. He's not in this meeting. Former banker, he's called Mohit. We were there the whole summer working on this strategy and gaining traction with some good clients, and also the partnership, the reseller partnership. And that also meant did a lot of presentation, but also a lot of prototypes actually in the weekends, in the nights, working the whole team actually, the tech and also the business analysts like Jonas Lander. Everybody was actually it's hectic when you need to do presentations and take knowledge in, and then do quick turnarounds and do prototypes and solutions. But we did this, and it was extremely good learnings. One of the big learnings was, of course, that clients are actually quite positive. We need better like demonstrations, like application building tools that are more simple to use and quicker to deliver prototypes on. We also need LASMs and APIs to be even more simple. We need some core functionalities as well, which we need to implement as well. And how to use the database. So it was actually extremely learningful for us. And this is now you could say like after 1 year of a new type of business development and market interactions with heavy focus on finding the right go-to-market strategy. I think we found now a way to engage in a meaningful manner, so we get quick feedback from clients, and we can actually deliver the value also in a quick manner to the clients. And Jonas is going to talk more about the scalability articles, but also some of the learnings there we had. Many clients basically told us some of the meetings, like, are you coming here to sell blockchain or DLT? We already tried that, it doesn't work, and we spent like hundreds of millions on it. You can just get out. And we say, no, what was the problem? Like, and try to get an interaction. Like they need scalability, big issue. Privacy, big issue. And also in general, how to manage security keys and so forth. And that's actually wonderful, because that's exactly some of the problems we have addressed with our architecture, because we took a fundamental other approach, and that we have now worked on explaining a lot, both in presentations and practicing on this, and also creating more in-depth articles to explain how we're different and why it actually makes good sense and why there is a market fit for us. and the clients can also see it now. And we also then, one thing is that you have a product maybe, and an idea on how it can be used. The other thing is to then educate and explain it to a potential client or customer or project on how they can use it and make them understand. It's a totally other story, and that's what we are working with hard. But that also meant Carsten was also there, and also the tech team helped implementing prototypes. That of course meant we down prioritized as well some of the implementation tasks that were planned over the summer for 2 months. But all in all, we are expanding the partnership strategy and also found you could say a go-to-market approach that seems to be working, and the clients can see the merits, Tagion technology, and that we have another type of architecture that can deliver on scalability and privacy and so forth. So that's actually extremely positive. I don't know if anybody wants to ask questions or comments or this part.
I don't have anything, at least, but I guess otherwise we can return to it if in 5 minutes someone has a question.
Yeah. Okay. Then I think let's move on to the next agenda point then.
Yeah. So just share my screen.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So we had a plan which we showed in April, I think it was, or May, where we had some of the same things on. We have graph mirroring, we had TVM util, and also other TVM util 1.0, and also our library about the bottom here, TVM service and smart contract standards. That roadmap relating to this has not been prioritized. The tech team has finalized TVM util 0.9. We have a working TVM with VASM, which needs to be implemented now into TVM service, but that currently is not prioritized because we are few resources and we want to deliver on the main infrastructure firstly. So the graph mirroring has been delivered as planned actually. That means both the database synchronization and the graph mirroring is actually working from a mechanical point of view. We had some things that is still in pipeline. We have a network catch up. It means like a new node can catch up on the graph and so to speak be like be synchronized on the, you could say, not the history, but like on the face of the graph, so they are like in the same so to speak. It has the same view of the graph, and there is a protocol to catch up on this. This is currently in process, and then when that is working and you can create the same graph, a view of the graph, and also the same rounds and the same witnesses, then there is something called active node voting. When that happens, then a new node joining the network can then become a part of the network and actually help vote in the graph by actually being a part of the graph, and so to speak. And that means active node voting, being an active member of the consensus mechanism. So that is the two outstanding issues on mode 2, which are being worked on right now. And then there is a mode 2 testing, which we need to set up when those things are ready. And that also means a full testing system actually to do so, distributed testing system, which the team also been working quite a lot on. Carsten can elaborate later on the team if there is in-depth questions. In the last part here, we have actually swapped to prioritizations. We had this idea we wanted people to be tested with external nodes, which we don't control as a core team. like on an open network, but we have resource constraints and also due to like what we would like from a production point of view to happen first, also from a logical point of view, we decided to say we would like to upgrade our production system to mode 2. It's quite far behind now on the current code base, also to test the current code, so we can actually upgrade the current running production system. When that is working, we will go out to work more on the external testing and opening up the network for external nodes. As you can see, also the timeline has been moved with around 2 months compared to the last timeline, but that also is because we have spent quite a lot of time on in Brazil, as I just mentioned. So that's a little bit high level on what we're doing. I don't know, Carsten, if you have any comments on this, or you would actually like to go to the next page and explain more in depth actually what is in the next package.
Just what Tyson mentioned, what we have worked on is that when an external node wants to join the network, we have two systems. We have the database data, which needs to be synchronized, and then we have the voting graph. What we have solved right now is that we can remote synchronize the database, and we can also replicate the graph. What we need now is to, this is the next one, this is the graph catch-up. This means that the mirror node is actually voting the same as the other nodes in the network. And data has turned out to be a little more challenging than we first thought, but we have now found a method to do that. And the next one is then when we join the network. So when we can mirror the network, this means that we can just passively replicate the same voting as the network. But when we join as an active node, we have to vote also. This means we are participating also in the voting. So this is the next one. But first is to catch up and then starting to vote. And this is what we need to do for mode 2, where we actually can an external and a node can sort of detach from a network and go in again. And that's actually the major part what we are working on. The smaller part, which is we actually want to, is that we want to update the database for Blake 3, and Blake 3 is a more efficient hash algorithm, which is very efficient for large files, and has many advantages. And we will update our database to use this instead of shard 256, because it's more efficient for large data structures. We'll still use the shard 256 for signing, but not for the database. And then we actually want to simplify the Hypon, because we have two types of integers. So signed, we have actually we have two byte sizes of integers. So we have 32 bits and 64 bits, and there's actually no need for having a distinguish between those two, because we are using LEV 128 and the exact variable length. So we will eliminate the byte size length and just have a variable length in the, so we don't care if it's 32, 64, 128, 256. bits length in integers, because there's no need for that. So we reduce it to have, instead of having 4 types of integers, we will only have 2 types, but it would cover the same. So we'll change the standard a little. And then we have actually maybe to implement 2 Tagion improvement proposals. One is transaction verification. It's actually not a big deal, but we haven't focused on it. But what it actually does is that right now, when you send that contract into the network, you can't actually see if it's processed or not. You have to check that you actually get the outputs, but we would like to have the network so we can actually verify that, or the user can verify that contracts have passed through the network. So that's one thing. And the other one is actually a mirror node, and a mirror node is in principle what is mode 2, where you in principle can mirror the network as an external. This is the first level in external or the independent network operator can join the network. So we would like to have this as a function. So other than Tagion members can join the network. So this is the first level of being able to distribute the network. And then, of course, we need test systems, infrastructure test system, and we have done a lot of work to actually go off cloud systems. So we will the major cloud providers, because for several reasons. It's very expensive, and we would like to be able to handle our own. Something we need to work more on, because now we are going into a phase where we get more distributed. Yeah, that's actually what I have to say. No. Fuck. Listen. This is what we would like to also add. Of course, the first one is multisig. It's actually more like we actually have more signatures in our system, but we also need to support it in the smart contract. We are using Snore, but we don't have multisig contracts yet. So we would like to have this. This is the first one. And the second one is, of course, we need to implement the Western as a service in the system. So we have now a beta of a virtual machine, but we need to integrate it into the core network. But we have prioritize this lower, because the mode 2 is more important than this, because this is a known technology. It's known how to do virtual machines. It's not critical, or you can. It's not like that we don't know how to do it. It's just a matter of work, you can say. Then we also want to have this external test participant, what I actually mentioned before. We would like to be able to have, so that our community members can also participate in testing the network. which we have postponed right now. So, yeah.
All right, that's good. And I guess there's a lot of you could say esoteric tech jargon in this roadmap. But maybe to sum up what's going on right now. So we're in this phase where we want to do, we call it mode 2, where we're in the process of distributing the network. And what that essentially means is whenever you have a distributed or decentralized network, that's a network comprised of many different computers, and these computers, they each have a copy of a database or a ledger, and they need to come to agreement between each other, between what the state of that ledger or the database looks like. So what we're doing here in mode 2 is essentially enabling new computers to participate in this distributed or decentralized network of computers. And so that's my attempt to make it a bit more accessible for the united. All right.
And again, if you want to see more about the different modes, it's in the documentation. If you go into docs.tagion.org under tech, you can search for modes, and then you can see the different modes. We started in mode 0, and now we're going towards 2. And then there is the last one, 3, and the 4 is more like having subnetworks. So you can go in there and look as well if you want to see it. I'll just put in the link in the chat. And many people have asked about progress and progress reports and funding in Telegram.
No, we can't.
So maybe I should elaborate on this.
Hello?
We cannot hear you, Jonas.
No, we don't.
We hear you. Hello. Now we lost him again. Okay, but regarding funding and progress, so the first 1/3 of this project, the first 3 years, the founders and the company behind actually funded the project fully. Then we got some token investments, which have been around 1/3, a little bit less actually, maybe 1/4 of our funding. And then we have had private investors as well invested into the commercial company, which has supported with the rest of the funding, also around 1/3, a little bit more. And one of the projects with them who is also supported the project. That's currently how the project is operating as well. That means the card is the main developer and also sponsor of the project. Maybe while we wait for Jonas, we can also just put a comment on the Git repositories. Now I can hear myself, so there is some sound working with Jonas. So when was that? Start of the summer, we decided to take the working repository, not the release repository, but the working repository private. And then we created a new repository called Tagion Release. I think it is right, Carsten. And we published the releases. And the reason is we would like to reorganize the repository and divide it up into different parts. So it becomes easier to maintain and also to contribute on in a public manner, to divide up the module or the libraries up into modules or different repositories as well. That's something we did here. When did we do it, Carsten? Was it in June?
I think it was in July. June, maybe June. Yeah, end of June, I think. And the reason is that we would like to be able to, because some of the bottom modules are they are more and more stable. So we would like to. The project is divided up in several libraries, you can say, and we would like to do it so we can actually distribute it in as a library, because some of the functions can be used if you just want to do an interface to the network, and you don't need all the whole code. So we would like to be able to run it in more module architecture, but the architecture is actually modules, but for somebody who wants to interface to it. But it just it's a little more work because we have a mono repository right now, and we want to have divided up.
Yeah,
it's for the distribution. So yeah. Say something, Elias. We don't hear you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now we can hear you.
Discord crashed and I could not get back in. All right. Okay. So did you cover the GitHub repository thing? Good.
I do.
All right. Nice. Okay. So there's only one thing left on the of today's agenda, and that's the article on the scalability issues of DLT, which we'll just briefly introduce you to. All right. So I just share my screen with you here. We like a couple of days ago, I think it was Tuesday, we published an article on the DLT scalability issues, and it's part of a series that we're currently in the process of writing, in which we zero in on some of the existing problems of decentralized network technologies. And then explain how we at Tagion are tackling those problems and creating a network that don't suffer from the same bottlenecks that currently afflict the majority of DLTs out there. And I guess the reason why we're doing it is sort of twofold. We want to educate the community about what Tagion actually is, what we're building here. But it's also a way for us to explain it to all the companies, the people we engage with, for them to have a better understanding of how Tagion sets itself apart from current our existing solutions. So as Thijs mentioned in the beginning, a lot of the companies we have been engaging with, they already have tested existing solutions, but in one way or another, they simply do not suffice. They are not able to meet their demands. So we are saying, yes, we acknowledge there are definitely problems with current solutions. Here's how we solve those problems and why Tagion probably would be interesting to you. So that's sort of the motivation behind this a series of articles that we're currently in the process of publishing. And the article we published on Tuesday is about the issues of scaling a decentralized network. And I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty, but sort of the overall dilemma when it comes to scaling a distributed decentralized system is that whenever you try to scale such a system, you typically compromise on decentralization. So if you want to make more service, more users, then you need to make the system more centralized. And at the end of the day, that comes with certain risks. So the system becomes easier to capture either from the outside, like it could be a government that wants to impose rules on the network, and which could be of a problem to some of its users. So, for instance, as it's also mentioned in the article, as an example, it could be that a Brazilian company, they use the network for processing supply chain information. But if for some reason that Brazil was um, subjected to some sanctions of some form or the other, and the network was greatly centralized around computers exposed to U.S. regulatory frameworks, then it might, the Brazilian company might risk being cut off the network. So, there exists these sort of risks when you centralize the system too much. So, and that's sort of the problem that we touch upon here, saying that a lot of systems, they are able to scale the system, but it's always at the cost of decentralization. So that's sort of the problem we try to explain here, how that works, and we explain how that works at different layers of the tech stack, and we try to do it in a way that is hopefully accessible to non-techies. It's not to say it's probably not an easy article, but if you focus, I think you'll be able to understand most of it. So it's like an educational piece in which we want to explain how DLT works to the community, but also to our partners, and then explain how Tagion has created or provides a solution that is in many ways better than existing solutions. So that's what this article about. This is what this series of articles is about, and I think in a couple of weeks we will post the next article in this series. So yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if you have any questions. I'll just share it in the chat. By the way, second.
By the way,
I think Leonard just did.
Oh, Leonard just did. Right. Good. Okay.
No, it's the right one. Yeah, it's a good article. The two articles, it's good read and it's good written to like a normal reader point of view. And I think so. I will really encourage everybody who wants to use 20 minutes, learn something, and to read it.
Yeah, and I think I also should add that this is actually the second article in the series. We also published the first one maybe a month ago or 2-3 weeks ago. I cannot remember. But in that one, you find an explanation of the benefits, you would say, and sort of the evolution of decentralized networks. So if you want to understand what's the hype about, then that's a good place to start. And then you can dive into the second article where it goes more into depth with how it works and what the problems are. All right. Christian?
Yes, I just have.
Welcome.
Did you see? Yeah. I have a question for Carsten, if I may, if we are at that section yet, where the floor is open. That's cool. Carsten, I know that you went to the DConf together with Lucas. Maybe just a 2-minute update on what you learned there and what you got to share, and
Just to mention, we are using the language called D for the whole network, and it's a system level language. You can say it's the next generation C++ or what you can say, and they actually had a very interesting. There was a company called Vega, which made super scale file systems, and they could outperform any system out there by a factor of 60 or something. And it was written in D, and so they are a very successful company. And then there's actually they have improved because we are using D has what's called you can write it in both garbage collected and non-garbage collected, but they have also improved the garbage collection. significantly. So we see some improvement there. And what else? So they're also working on new library for that language. So we are actually very happy to use this tool. It helps us a lot. It's very easy to make quality code in D compared to other tools I've used for the years. So yeah, languages. Yes. So yeah, that's also the gift is actually from there.
I don't know if Lucas actually also has something to say from the conference. I don't know if you want to, Lucas. But I think if you go into dconf online, you can find the D conference online. You can see the YouTube streams from the days. They're very good actually. So I sneak peeked into some of them, and I think Veka, the company doing this, they spent I think 13 or 14 years now. Company under development, 350 employees, heavily most engineers. And they created this high performance file system, clustering file system. And the case they were one of the most successful cases was, it's actually first the last couple of years they found successful cases. They used a little bit around 10 years to actually build out the system to actually find good commercial cases and actually earn some money. So they, more than 10 years under R&D development. And they took one of the biggest auto manufacturers in Europe. I don't know which one it is, but I assume it's either Volkswagen or Mercedes, I don't know. They run simulations on automation, for example, for self-driving and so forth. When they do an automation like simulation, it takes them around 12 days to run this within their GPU server centers. They had two, one with 1,500 and one with 3,500 GPU servers. And the biggest bottleneck was actually, you could say, file system performance. So how quick can it load the data to input to the simulation model and provide the outputs back? And then Veka supplied their file system to feed this AI system, so to speak. So they went from 12 days to 4 hours in simulation time, or turnaround time. And that actually made this company leading within automation. So that's a pretty cool case, and I think also quite profitable. So it's pretty cool to see a language like this can create this kind of high performance on system level and be used in some of the advanced commercial applications and also big industry applications. I think it's pretty cool. And they, of course, support D heavily. Their fans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are there any other questions? I assume not. All right, but then I think that's it for today. We'll be back in a month's time on Thursday, the 2nd of October. Same time, same place. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, then please feel free to share them here in the Discord group. So that's it for today. Have a nice day, everyone.
See you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Goodbye.
Bye.